Brito. We're here today at Benjamin Flip Rose's house, and we're starting to do another segment of the making of the Cape Verdean, this will be the making of the Cape Verdean 4. And we're going to be talking about sports, specifically sports in the basketball and with Cape Verdeans here in New Bedford. So I'd like to start off with the host today, which is Flip Rose, and just ask you to tell me your mother and father's name. I'll hold it here. Your mother and father's name, if you know what island they came from in Cape Verde.
My grandmother, my mother Barbara Oliveira, the family came from Saint Vicent.
And your father's side?
To be honest with you, I forgot.
Okay. Because I think some of it was Santos as well.
I don't know.
Well, that's okay. I just like to have that information. So, and
maybe I was from Bravo.
Yeah, well, could be too. Alright, so next.
Manny Costa Jr. My parents were from Santos.
And what's your parents' name? That's what I need.
Manuel Costa Sr. and Ruth Costa.
My name is Peter Brito. My baptism name is Pedro Manuel de Brito. My parents are from St. Nicholas, Sunny Clouds. My father's name is Pedro Manuel Brito. And my mother's name is Tudina, which is Gertrude S. Almeida, who became Gertrude Brito.
My name is Robert Pina. My mother is Amelia G. Pina. My father's Frank Pina. They're from the island of Fogue. And that's all I have to say.
My name is Robert Santos. My mother's name is Adeline. My father's name is John Santos. My mother was from Brava. My father from Fogue.
Okay, very good. So I think I want to start off with your earliest memories of when you first picked up a basketball. You can start with you, Bob.
I'm Monty's. Well, I came down to Monty Playground, and I wasn't too good, but I fouled a lot, so guys used to pick me on their team so I wouldn't foul them.
That's good.
So, and I learned basketball, and then I met Manny Costa Sr., and he started taking us different places to play basketball, and I really got into it and liked it a lot, and he kept me out of trouble. So I have a lot of appreciation for what Manny did for me.
I first started playing at the boys' club
Yeah, that's right.
when I was about 11 years old.
The Boys Club 11. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to start off with that, the first recollection of your playing ball, but we can,
And he said I was good.
and Bobby said you were good.
I wouldn't go see him
Alright.
play. I wasn't even playing basketball. It's the first time I went to the Y to see the Swisher kids. Yeah.
Were you on our
You
team?
wanna know
Remember?
when we started playing?
Yeah,
Our
so
experience-
that's,
our
yeah, that's the
experience?
one, that's the main question for now, because I'm going to have other questions that's going to lead into other things. So you can go ahead and hand him that mic, and then you can.
I can go
Butch
back
this
that
one.
far. I'm gonna go back that far.
Yes, Jim.
When they built Bay Village, when I first started to play basketball, I was down at the Cove Park across from Bay Village. And they had nets there to hold the cove in, and we put a little peach basket on the net. And the backboard was a screen, all the screen that they kept the kids out. And that was our backboard. That's where we started.
What year was that about?
What year was that?
The Bay Village was like 1940s, early 1940s when they built it.
Yeah, maybe 42, 43.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to play basketball at the boys club, and sometimes used to go to the YMCA to play basketball, and after basketball we'd go swimming.
Yeah.
What year did you start playing basketball, though, that you remember when you started?
Oh, I was about 8 years old.
And playing at Monty's?
No, playing at the boys club.
Okay.
5-cent Coke and a 5-cent bag of chips. Remember?
Howdy doody.
Yeah. Yeah, I only played 1 year all the way. I went to
No, but when did you first start playing?
same as the
the guy. We played in the boys club.
Boys Club.
I had to be, I guess, 13, 14.
Yeah, 12, 13.
But I only played 1 year in for OLOA, 59, and I
We're
went
gonna-
into
yeah.
the service after that.
We're gonna get into that. So, just going around, you can hold on to that. What was the position that you played, and when you were playing when you began playing for like OLOA, because that's where your next stop was, OLOA, or was it school?
He was bad.
Was it at school, or was it at OLOA?
Well, I played power forward, but no. I played a point guard position, and we started down Roosevelt Junior High School and the Mandan. There were the two schools that we played because the original basketball thing for the, what was it? CYO. Wasn't built then, so that's how we started. And we started with Pete as our coach, and went from there.
And you, Bobby?
I was a point guard. I
And-
fed him the ball and he kept shooting it. Never gave it back to me.
So, but
forget-
didn't he say something about that he used to go and watch you play? Where was that at?
Boys
Boys Club.
At the boys club. What was it about Bobby, that you wanted to see?
No, the whole team was,
Oh.
they were excellent.
Who was
Don't
on the
forget,
team?
excuse me, not shutting you off, but don't forget, back in them days, the guys in our neighborhood or from the south end, you had to be a superstar to get onto a varsity team, because very few minorities, other than Butch Costa and a few others, Bobby Pina for Vogue, were playing on varsity teams. Huh? Mashi played New Bedford High School, but he couldn't shoot.
Walt Conway.
But who was
Paul Gomes.
Yeah.
Paul Martin Gomes.
Yeah.
okay? Who was playing on that team when you were playing at the boys club that they had?
The
to go
boys
down
club?
to see? Like who were some of the guys? Just name some of them because they're not
I
here.
think
Some
with
of-
Jimmy Rogers,
David Pinto.
David Pinto, I think Butch Firmino. And
I was there too.
he was there, he played.
We didn't play. We picked up teams.
Yeah.
David and Donald Gomes.
Okay.
We used to pick up teams while we were there.
The Gomes brothers.
Junebug played for,
Junebug.
I saw Rebound Junebug, and he was taller than me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
CYO was one time down on Union Street, and it was on the third floor of the Keystone Building, right across from Star Store. That was CYO for us. We would go from CYO there, and if you had a game at the boys' club, you stay in your uniform. You ran up the next street, which is the boys' club, was right around the corner.
Yeah,
So we played
Santos.
two ways there.
So the CYO, that's
And
Catholic Youth Organization, right?
Right.
Right. They started with, we always had two teams, the senior and the junior team. And the junior team would always play first. And it was like Tony Ramos and his bunch, Dennis Silva and Manny Cause. They were the guys, the seniors, compared to us. And that's how we played.
So then when you started playing, Butch, you were with CYO first, or was it with New Bedford High first?
No, when I started playing, I was at the boys' club.
Yeah, but I mean later when you
Later on was CYO.
first and then New Bedford High?
Right.
You could do that back then though? You could play for your church and then also play for the school?
Well, that was after the fact.
You could.
That was after the fact. You played.
One or the other.
Right.
So, all right, so and you played for the CYO as well.
Yeah, one
So
year.
all of you played for the CYO at one point.
Right.
So,
Not for the CYO, I
We
played
played-
for OLOA.
OLOA, okay,
Right.
for the OLOA. Now, my recollection of playing for OLOA was the OLPH was always the best games, wasn't it? Fall River.
name.
Holy
No, no.
Name.
Holy name.
So
Holy name
what was one of the best games that you can remember about that time?
I'll tell you, that's good.
Well, PH one time, they had us by,
Pick up the mic, take the mic,
they
please.
had it. Well, PH, we played it, they changed the game, they put it on a Sunday, so the fans wouldn't show up. We played well PH, and they were leading by 15 at halftime. We came back and beat them by 20.
That was at halftime.
That was a big rivalry.
Yeah.
OLP.
Yeah.
Holy name too.
Holy name, yeah, those two biggest
Two
ones.
branches.
Yeah.
I see those.
Butch Strong, yeah.
Butch Strong.
Skypeck,
Yeah.
Dugay.
Right.
Yeah,
Swintek.
you got the names.
You remember all them names, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a good mind.
They were my enemies, the other team.
Now, remember in those games, though, I remember some of those referees not talking about you, Jimmy, because I know you was a good referee, but Bobcat was a Bobcat and all that. Were they kind of like? Did you feel that they were kind of unfair at some of those games? No, you thought they
I
were.
never felt that way.
Well, I used to yell at them all the time, so I always thought they weren't
We
calling the shots good.
we played against, like I said, IC's a holy name, and I protest the game. Right, Butch? Was you on my team then? From CYO?
I don't
we-
remember
we
the
pro
type two.
He
game?
got cut that year.
Rob, you was on that team, right? When I protest the game
Why?
For what?
for a call that wasn't a rule call, and so they beat us that game, but that game was played under protest. The final last 4 minutes, whatever minutes that was left in the game. So when they had the meeting the next day, they found that I was right in the call. So that made that Joe Buckett made a mistake, and it gave us the right to come back and play a full game again, which we beat that team like by 25 points the second time around.
So the game had to be replayed. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Was that St. James? I only lost one game when I played at St. James
On a protest?
on the CYO. Yeah.
Was-
We lost the game, one game.
We won 9 years without losing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, didn't you have a 9-year run there where you
It
guys?
must have been before me because
No,
I remember
it
St.
was-
James beat us one game.
The year that we lost was in 58. 1958, 59.
One game maybe. That
No,
was
in
that one-
59. You won in 59.
We won it in
That's the
50.
only year I played.
But we won it in 59, but then there was a protest the year before that. That was for sure. That was because in my blue book that I have, I was going to protest, but Lyle Gomes stopped me from making a scene out of it. He said, just go ahead and play the team the next time, next week, the following week, and we did.
And that was against
Holy name,
Holy Name.
right? That's the only one I can remember.
So, but the championships you won for 9 straight years. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
that's
You won for
right.
9 straight
Without
years
losing.
That's
the game.
right.
without losing the game. So,
You
but
only lost one game, and after I left because of certain reasons, and Bush knows one of the reasons why I left. But we will not say about that
why
reason
can't we? It's history.
That's
Let's
when
talk
Smokey
about it.
came in?
Who?
Smokey came
because
That's when Smokey took over.
that's when I had to find someone to take my place, and whatever reason that
It was personal.
the head of
Was it-
the head of the CYO church told me
Ah.
I couldn't coach for
Okay.
certain reasons.
Okay, I get you. Because they had very strict rules back then. Because isn't it a fact that you couldn't play if you didn't go to church the Sunday before?
Our church said that.
in. Our church, yeah.
Our church said that.
And you
I
had to
checked.
sit in the front pew.
Why?
So the priest could see it.
Okay.
And then sign after
Yeah.
Mass.
Sign after
Go
mass.
sign up.
I think they did the same thing to the cheerleaders too.
Cheerleaders too.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
had to go home and check my trophies to see when we started.
Yeah.
But as you are we gonna go beyond what we're talking right now?
No, yeah. I just want you to be able to give me the history of
Well, we
what
never
went
we
on.
never had a girls team.
You remember me playing that?
We
We
never
did
had.
for a minute because I played.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Okay.
Me, Mary Louise, Ella, a whole bunch of us played back
What's
then.
the guy
It was
that
just for like
this
one
guy?
year, I think.
1 year,
Yeah.
but then you gotta stop.
Right.
But then after that, for years there was no girls team.
Doing jazz.
But we can't hear if you guys the mic will pick up.
So take Kathy Houtman.
Hmm.
I think they can hear me this way. Kathy Houtman was, I don't know how long ago, she's been out of high school. But there was 8 graders with Melody Livamento, Monica Rosario, Donna Fields. I had the greatest girls team ever.
I can't even remember that, yeah.
And I had the boys come down to the YW Saturday mornings. That's when I had it to practice, and they would beat up on those girls. But
Good training.
good training. So we went from CYO, Fall River, Taunton, and we beat all those girls. We never lost a game.
Well,
And-
those are some good points, but I wanna kinda stick with the guys right now, and then maybe at some point we can get back
To the girls.
To the girls,
Okay.
because one of the questions I have for you guys, did you ever see anyone during your time that you think that could have made the NBA?
No, Paul, I don't know, Paul, the Gomeses was the closest that I think, huh, Bob?
Gomes was
Yeah,
They were the closest.
especially Paul.
Yeah.
Paul Gomes was the guy.
So what was so special about his talent? I remember seeing
His
Paul
game.
play.
His game.
Control and how he shot. His shots.
shot.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Hit the boards. He had the prettiest jump shot. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
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 He was good. He was strong off the boards.
But I thought, basically they said all the Gomes brothers were pretty much
Oh, yeah, every one.
good talent. Yeah.
I always liked Edmund.
I think Stevie
That was
had
my
the,
boy.
I think Stevie had the best game that I ever.
Steve was
Yeah.
the
I
best.
took a day out of work to go see him play. He played the team for thing. Brought the ball up the court as a guard. When he got up to the top, I can't think of the guy's name. Gave him the ball, and he would go in the center, and they would pass him the ball, and he could score any way you thought. He must have got 42 points that night. He was unbelievable.
Where was this at? Here in New Bedford?
It was here in New Bedford, yeah.
So, and aside from the Gomes, I mean, what about Cousy, as we call Bobby Fields? And this is from another era, but wasn't
Good time.
Cousy good?
Yeah,
Bobby
he was
Fields.
time.
He was,
your time.
Bobby was.
he was like a guy before us. Yeah.
Small, height. He's
Yeah.
too small.
Yeah.
Had a nice
Cookie
fadeaway.
Gomes was another one.
Cookie Gomes.
Cookie was good.
That's right.
Cookie was one of the best.
Smart player.
So, because from what I remember too, especially like the New Bedford High School teams, that some of the issues back then, and I remember my brother and I touched on this, but he didn't want me to get too far into it, but it's, the matter of fact of it is that there were some good ball players in the high school that these coaches didn't push, and they never got the scholarships to go on to college because they were always seated on the bench. That
True.
kind
The
of,
coaches used to say, don't bring Monty Playground
Yeah.
basketball up here.
Yeah.
In other words,
That's really
you can't take the ball you played in the park to the high schools because they don't like that.
but isn't that the ball that they're
That's
playing today?
that's the reason why a lot of guys didn't really have a chance to shine because
Yeah.
once you try out for the team, they know you. They say, "Where you from?" Oh, no, we don't play that kind of ball here. And
Well, what kind of ball were they talking
fast,
Man-to-man,
fast pace, man to
man-to-man.
man, up and down the court,
about? Uh-huh.
Didn't stop.
pressure
I don't
all the
think
time.
we played a zone that much.
No, there's no such thing as a zone.
I can remember I was at vocational and I threw a behind the back pass, and Palmieri blew the whistle. He said, "We don't do Monty Park basketball here."
Who said this?
Al Palmieri, he was our coach at the time. He coached for 1 year.
They know how good those
I
guys
said-
were. They know how good they were.
Well, what's the point? Is if I throw a behind the back pass and the guy scores, what's the difference? He said, "We don't do that here."
We don't do that. They were
He always
straight-
said about the walk, how we walked.
Uh-huh.
It was like the Bay Village Shuffle.
Oh.
Yeah. They came out with all that, rhetoric.
Wow.
Yeah,
Excuses.
at the time.
That's one game that stands in my memory. It was a game that Bobby and I
What's the mic, please?
we broke down the court somehow or other. I got the ball. I'm driving towards the basket, and the guy's right on top of me. I give a behind the back pass and left him all alone underneath the basket.
But,
It pops into my head every now and then.
Yeah, they weren't too keen on Monty's.
Because they felt it was what? Because it was black, it was ghetto, it was what? It was,
I don't know.
We were
before-
beyond the time.
I think before our time, when Manny Costa Sr. played with Rusty and all them guys, they had one hell of a match, and I think Al Palmieri's team beat,
Cape Verdeans?
yeah, they beat them by like 2
Seen that
points or something.
I wasn't
And
sure.
from then on, that was the whole thing that, the way they played basketball compared to how we played, they couldn't beat us.
No, they couldn't.
That's what the verdict was.
so it was the style of ball.
Yeah.
It was, and one style, and they played when you're in school or whatever. Now, did they do the same thing with the CYO? I mean, when
No,
you played?
No.
High school was more of a control thing.
Right.
Right.
My way or the highway?
You're supposed to pass over here,
Yep.
get back, and pass over there, instead of bouncing between somebody's legs or something like that.
Yeah.
I really think that,
Oh, wait a minute, here, buddy.
I really think that the way that we played basketball was exceptional for the guys who played because we were all small, and they were
What do you
probably
consider small?
well, Butch and Frankie were the tall guys on our teams whenever we played.
6'2", 6'3".
But
So-
you know what, Rob?
No, tell us here.
You know what made our guys good? Manny Costa Sr. He was in that park and made you move. It was then you're not going to get a trophy in that park, nothing. You're just going to play, and if Manny Costa is there, you're going to hustle, you're going to dribble, you're going to shoot, and he's on you the whole time you're playing 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 until we're all done playing. Manny Costa was the teacher of our guys. That's why I love Manny Costa, because he'll say, JB, you're doing a good thing, don't stop. Keep doing it. Because if you stop, who's going to do it?
One of the other
And that's
things-
why I
Sorry.
started the shootout, and I never stopped, because I heard that in my ear. And what I saw when I saw the crowd in that park for a 3-day shootout, you feel good.
Absolutely.
And
And
one
they
of the-
brought entertainers into the park. We had
One of the things I think that was good that my father did was that he brought players from out of town so you could adjust to
How they
adjust
played.
your game to see.
Yeah, how they played. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the year that he brought Bob Cousy and Bobby Knight
Yep.
down to the Monty's playground. And again, when you talk about the crowds, like I remember at OLOA, I remember at the park, whenever the guys played, there was always a crowd. I mean, it was never like there was empty seats. It was like this energy, you know.
We used to back the CYO
Yeah,
in.
in fact, nobody
Yeah.
ever did that like all the way.
That's right.
So, okay.
We
go
brought the community here.
That's right.
Everybody was there. Over 1,000 people played. Every time we played, they were there.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
kept the community together. Something to strive for.
And you know that there was that energy in the room. When you guys used to
Yeah.
dribble down that court or, you know, do your fancy shots or whatever. I mean, it was like the excitement behind it. And everybody was, I mean, I thought that they felt that this was definitely one of the biggest events in the community.
was.
having the basketball.
Every time we played, it was.
I have a question for Butch. But how come, what was I going to say about the coaches? They didn't push you to try out for New Bedford High School. Remember?
Matter of fact, my first year, I was on the JV team. I ended up quitting because the assistant coach there, Roger, the manager, I thought
He was a
he,
friend.
he stiffed me, you know. And when Grayback coached the JVs, because sometimes you had 3 games in a night, and Roger, the manager, would have to take the substitutes to another game. And Grayback would coach the JVs. And I'd play almost the whole game. Next game, Roger, the manager, comes back, and I'm sitting the whole game. You know, he puts me in for maybe 2 minutes, and he takes me out. And when that happened, I said, I'm all done. I went and played with Cookie and them guys at the City League.
The City League.
Yeah.
That's that.
But, yeah, who was it that said, was it you, Flip, that said that you was in for like a minute?
That
What
was a
it?
joke. I forgot. I don't know if it was Peter or Smokey. You know, I was about the 6th or 7th player on the team. I wasn't a starter. But I remember, I don't know if it was you, Peter, or Smokey, told me to go in for a certain player. I went in. We went down the court. We came back down. You remember that, right? The whistle blew. They're coming in for me. And I forgot who was coming in for me. He said, Flip, who you got? And I said, how the hell do I know? I haven't been here long enough. But I'll tell you what, I think a lot of the teams that came out of OLOA
The best,
would beat any high school team,
of course.
other than Volk when Paul and them were
I,
playing.
I have an issue on that. We played and we were going to play. There was a question we were going to play high school.
Oh, yeah.
Our Lady of Assumption was going to play high school because Peter and Frankie wanted to play high school. I wanted to play Holy Family because they had just gone to Tech Trinity too that year, and they won with the guy there. This,
Lola? Was it Lola?
no.
Mommy?
No.
The Walsh.
He runs for,
Walsh?
Walsh?
no,
Was it Walsh? No.
What school are you talking about?
Holy Family.
Holy Family.
Oh, Jack Nobrega?
Jack Nabriga. So I wanted to play them, but Frankie and Peter, and Frankie, because he had bones to pick with high school, because he sat the bench and them guys all played over him, he wanted to play high school. So we ended up playing high school. I was playing a guy that was 6'3". Was Stewart? Stewart was 6'3".
Yeah.
Mark
Yes.
Stewart.
Yeah,
Mark Stewart. I don't know. Bobby played. Probably Donald.
Donald, I think it was Donald.
And we were all outmatched, really outmatched. You know, that was the only game that really we didn't have any answer for any of them.
Frankie
was
played Nightingale.
Yeah.
Frank
Yeah.
Nightingale.
6'7"?
Yeah, he's like 6'7", right?
Yeah. So
Because he was on your team, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Butch?
Right.
Yeah.
Right behind.
that's when Butch came down with them. Yeah. It was awesome.
Hey, you know what? We never used to go beyond Fall River, or either Fall River or Taunton, right?
Yeah.
So we won the championship game, the junior division. I think it was the junior division. And so Joe Barker said, well, you can go all the way to Springfield
Yeah.
and play. I says, okay. I ate that up. I says, okay. We go to Springfield. And we get up there. We stayed over. It was a great weekend for the kids because they can stay over, 2 in a room. I don't know how I managed that, but we did. And we get there.
What year are you talking about? Around 60s, 70s, 80s?
57, 58,
Oh, okay. So that time, okay.
58? No. This
I
is
didn't play that.
no. This is like
Later.
65, something
Oh,
like
okay.
that. 65.
Mm.
And I had a nice team. So we get into the finals, but the guy that the team that was going to play was named Holy Name. They were green. So the coach comes up to me down in the locker room. He says, "Oh, Mr. Brito, I see you got green. Your color is green." I said, "We've always been green. That's our color." So he says, "Okay." I says, "Listen, my shirts, we can turn them inside out, reverse them, and we'll be light green." I said, "I'll take that." And I put my hand on his chest. I said, "You know what? Shirts don't win the game. Shirts don't win the game." I said it just like that to him. He didn't know what happened.
Every
Couldn't
year,
get out of the backcourt. We beat that team. We came home with the trophy.
every year we used to win. We used to go to Fall River and beat them. But they never let us to go play another championship, other part of Boston, to
Yeah.
play for the championships.
Who never left?
The dice?
They never let us.
Yeah.
We would win every year here.
Yep.
But for some reason, we couldn't go and compete against other teams. They
Like-
never let us do it.
Like Springfield or something like that. We never.
And we,
had the
and we were
opportunity.
good. We had good teams.
And were these teams predominantly white teams?
I imagine, I don't really know, but
Yeah.
whatever, I'm pretty sure it was white. And it was,
That's
us.
interesting. Yeah.
I don't remember playing anything in the CYO, any other teams that had color people on,
No.
color guys. None, never.
No.
No.
Never. It was all white.
Right.
There was one,
Oh, what?
Val played for St. James. Val Cabral.
Val
Yeah, he played for St. James.
Somebody else
So
that played for
one
St. Lawrence.
one year after I got away from CYO and refereeing, I went to the gym to see the game, and I see this team come out all in green, but they were all black. They were all Cape Verdeans. So I says to the guy sitting next to me, I says, "Well, who do these guys represent?" They represent Holy Family. So the priest up that Holy Family got all the brothers to play under him. And I forget who would play him, but he had. I mean, Jimmy Colbert was one. Because he went to that school, and these guys played for Holy Name, all in green uniform. They were black.
Back then, all the games that the teams won, every year, I mean, every game that it progressed, it got the OLOA was the target.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to beat OLOA.
Couldn't do it.
No. We run them into the ground. Well, I only played 1 year, but they could never touch.
That was that one loss that we had when I coached, and from that point on, 10 years, they didn't lose a game. They won a championship
10 years.
every year.
1 year, when Steve Curry 3-point plays, right? Him,
Yeah.
1 game. He was shooting threes all over the night. Go, what the
He
hell?
was?
Yeah, he
I
had a
could
good
have
night.
bounced
He
the
did.
ball on court and it would have went in.
It would have went in. It was amazing. It was,
You know
what?
how they mad at me? They be in the corner, they pass me the ball, I go, and I throw it up. We had fun.
Did you play against Butch Strong?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to guard Butch Strong.
I played against
One
him.
time he fell through the glass, and Larry Pina said he pushed the guy.
That's the
Yeah, Butch Strong. I used to guard him.
Right through the glass.
You pushed him?
Right?
No, I didn't push him. As a matter of fact, I
No,
was,
he was going for a
he
pass.
was going for no, he was going for under the basket.
Yeah.
I was right
He
behind
just
him,
ran right into the door.
and he ran right into the glass. He
Yeah,
went right through the glass.
Yeah, I
Did he get
remember
hurt?
that.
He didn't get hurt?
No,
No, he got shook up a little. It took him right out of his game. We won the game.
as a matter of fact, every good guard on the other team, I used to coach. I used to
Yeah,
play
of
them.
course. It was, you're a good guy.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember those days. Now, who was the one that somebody smashed the backboard one day? There was somebody that went up for.
For
Were
layup.
you able to dunk back then?
No.
Hell no.
Hell
We
no.
didn't have
Somebody
anybody who could
did
dunk.
something.
We didn't have anybody.
Put something on his shoulder.
What was that?
No, I remember somebody used to dunk now. There was a couple of guys
No,
that.
not
Frankie
team.
Farmer, you
No.
didn't
No,
dunk, which,
Frankie
no?
Farmer.
Frankie
No.
Farmer drives them crazy under the boards.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe,
got him.
maybe a guy like
Butch.
Paul Gomes. No.
Yeah.
Double decker. Maybe him. He was
Paul?
good.
The other Paul.
Yeah,
was,
Paul was good. Yeah.
They had, as a matter of fact, I thought they had one of the best teams ever, and they ended up losing. They had
Who
a
was
good
that?
team.
It was a-
Lenny was Lenny. I can't think of it. Lenny Rocha.
Buddy Rocha.
Was Buddy on that
Yep.
team? Lucky was on that team.
Yep.
Can't think of too many, but they had a good team. They did have a good team.
Is there any film footage of any of these games? Any?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Not
Nobody
not
took
those
any,
days,
not
no.
even some of the outside.
No.
You know, like pictures.
No, film, actual
no.
film.
That was well
That
before the time.
That was
Well,
like
no,
si-
because
that was
I
like
have-
silent movie, man.
Well, I have the silent. I have. I'll tell you, I have some film footage from Tony Geach and them playing. But
yeah.
they were like out in Carver someplace, and they just all came out, sat on this bench, and stood there, and looking at it. And I think there was a little bit of activity of them playing back and forth. So I'm gonna include that clip on this. But I was hoping to see if there was any other film footage of you guys playing anywhere.
Not that I know of.
There's nothing.
Frank Denise played too, right?
As a matter of fact, I think one of the best teams is when John Silvera, Frank Denise, David from West End, who's his last name, I forget. David
I
Dwight,
made him a
Dwight.
Catholic.
David
That's
Dwight,
right.
Frank Denise, John, Franklin Pina,
Franklin Pina,
Yeah.
Danny
Sensation?
Daniel Oliveira,
Danny
Oh,
Oliveira.
I thought
Yep.
you
and
had-
Bobby Santos at point guard.
What?
Bob-
That's point.
Bobby Santos.
I know.
That's right.
Frank Denise,
Yeah.
So didn't the Donald and David, they played too, right?
Yeah.
Donald and David Gomes.
Yeah.
He played before.
They played
I
before.
played with Donald and David.
I played with Donald that one year.
I never played with him.
They were known
And
as
Lou
the
Gomes.
shooters.
The shooters.
Lou Gomes, yeah.
Lou Gomes.
Yeah, I played with Lou
Oh,
Gomes.
yep, Lou Gomes. He was another one.
Rich Firmino,
Which one was good?
Tom Heinsohn in the corner.
Yeah. He's
So out of all the different teams, the different generations, which one won the most games? Was it your time that you won straight games, or was it the team before, like with Butch Silver and all of them, and
No, they were.
That-
It was the 10 years that they didn't lose the
That
game.
was
We
the
didn't
10
lose the game.
that was the most?
It ended up 9 years, yeah.
When I played OLOA, we won a lot of games. And now
When
we're
you
talking about
played.
Butch Silver and Dennis Silver. I got it in the book there, in my
But what
book.
was the first team that OLOA had? Was it at your time?
No,
So
it would be like
Hoxie, remember Hoxie
yes.
and all of them?
Rusty Ramus,
Rusty Ramus,
And,
that's some of the people I
uh,
think I have the footage of.
not Alves, Alves.
What about didn't Chucky's father, Rosario, didn't he play, or one of the
No,
Rosarios?
Skippy was good too.
Yeah, Skippy Alves.
Real good.
Yeah, Skippy was good.
He played
And
with
did-
you, yeah.
And didn't Robert Alves play too? Didn't
No.
No.
he didn't play?
No.
Okay,
No, he didn't.
so it's Skippy. And some of the other guys, who played during Cousie's time, Bobby Fields. You played with.
No?
Cousy didn't,
Cousy was older than us.
Cooley didn't play CYO.
he didn't play
He didn't play
CYO.
No, he played City League.
Um,
Cooley was in the service, I think.
So playing in the city league, was there any opportunities to go any further than just playing in the city league, or is that it?
No.
But there was a lot of guys in the West End too that played, right? Like,
Not too many, not in CYO, no, I don't think
didn't
so.
Sonny Gibo play? No, he didn't play.
Sonny Jibo. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did play.
Did he?
yeah.
Yeah, Sonny Jibo played.
My
Who
cousin
else
Frankie,
played?
God bless his soul, Ramus.
Frankie Ramus,
Frankie Ramus.
right?
He played 1 year for Our Lady of Assumption, and he played 1 year for vocational, and he said he was going in the service.
David Saws was good.
Okay.
He used to play. David Saws was good. And Manny,
Manny Rogers, rather.
he was good.
Jake Gomes, well, we said the
Yeah.
Gomes brothers, but Jake and them. So what's one of the last things we can add to this to say as far as like, do you think that they have the camaraderie today in basketball like they had back in your days? I mean, do you see that with these younger folks? They don't even play down the park?
I don't see
You
it.
don't see them down the park.
Yeah.
You don't see any. You go drive down that park, you might see 2 people playing basketball.
We
I
used-
remember back in the day when Paul Gomes shoveled snow off Marty's court.
That's right.
Big
Play
Paul,
ball,
Paul Gomes,
yeah.
right, the Tony Geach Paul
Yeah.
Gomes, yeah.
Shovel snow. Matter of fact, a lot of guys did it.
Yeah, and my
Well,
father was out there too.
there's a pipe that goes right under that court from the Bay Village, all the way to the other
Yeah,
side to
the
Bay
heat.
Village. That's why it would melt very quick because the pipe was.
They don't enjoy, they don't use what we would have loved to have had at that time.
Mhm.
The courts, well, they're not like they are today. Backwoods, not like today.
Does the OLOA have a team today?
He can't even go in. You know anybody that goes into the CYO that's up on County Street?
No.
They don't even use it. As a matter of fact, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was supposed to be for the diocese, the Catholic.
Yeah, it was.
They shut us
Yeah.
right down.
They should. 1 year before I got out of CYO, and I wrote maybe 5 pages. I think my sister Ellen helped me put it together. What CYO should be and how we should use CYO as a center. So we put it all on paper, right? And I brought it up to the head priest up there that year. And he says, very good, Pete. He said, I'm going to give it to the headmaster in Fall River. Well, I'm still waiting,
God.
I mean,
right?
they could use it for.
Right. So the idea was great.
Center, community center.
Yeah.
they
It was
got
a center.
rooms in there and everything.
Right, but they really didn't
Computers.
want, because a lot of us,
Computers for the kids.
They don't use it at all now, at all.
they had restrictions when we were there
Yeah.
back then, they had restrictions.
When we played, a lot of times they get to the point where they would turn the couches around.
Yeah.
So the black folks, you play after the game,
Yeah,
Get
you're
out.
out.
get out.
Yeah. That's so true.
Frenchie,
I remember
I'll never forget the name. He was a
Yeah,
racist.
that.
Frenchie.
Absolutely, I remember that.
Yeah, running everybody up.
Okay, gotta leave. Turn the couches around so you can't sit down.
Couldn't hang around and
No.
utilize the facility.
I mean, and when you think about it, I mean, back then, a lot of us didn't really think about it, you know, but when you start thinking about the way things were back then, like you said, not being able to leave and go play any place else, and it was always like the local teams, there was such a controlled racism
Yeah.
with all of this.
You got
You
that
know,
right.
Right,
And
absolutely.
it's so sad because I really think that a lot of guys could have eventually, even through the church, got scholarships to go play, to go to school someplace else. But it's just,
Different times.
The only one I remember, Butch is the only one that I think, the one that's the state championship for high school, didn't you?
what's the Polytech?
Yeah, but what other?
That's
Tech
About-
Journey, that was it. That was just really as far as anybody went, was Tech
Yeah.
Journey.
Right. That's when we went up to Boston Gardens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when Paul, I'll never forget it. On the, how do you go? You threw a, remember the hook shot from almost half court when Red Auerbach made a remark about how good he was? From half court.
Who's the one?
Paul Gomes.
Oh, Paul.
And ripped the
19
net.
1938 was the first time they got together. So Laura Gomes got these guys together. Don Ramos.
Big
Don
yeah.
Don Ramos was the coach. Felix Montero, George Gomes, Paul Grace, Frank Joseph, Tony Mendes, Ed Livamento, and Cab Rosario and Dorothy Montero. That was the team.
That was the team. What year was that?
38.
38.
I wasn't
I
even
was-
born.
I was 6 years old. I was getting ready to become coach.
I remember Sam Jones and Casey Jones coming down to the park to play. I wasn't even playing. I was on the sidelines watching it, and Paul Gomes did a number on Sam Jones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Paul was out of this world.
Sam
you
Jones
know,
was
I kind of remember that.
A rookie with the Celtics came down to play with Sam. I remember
And
that.
I think I remember something about my father saying to go easy or something because it was the embarrassment. I remember something about
Yeah.
that.
I was like, holy shit. He was throwing
Paul.
books all over the
Yeah,
place.
Paul.
Left-handed,
Yeah.
right-handed, jump shots.
And he was strong when he
Yeah,
went up.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The only guy I seen that frustrated him was Frank
Frankie.
Rogers.
Hey, you hit him, you
That's
turn
what-
around, hit him with the right hand.
Who's that?
Frankie.
Paul Gomes.
Paul Gomes hit him with the right hand.
You see it?
Bam.
Frankie used to drive guys crazy.
According to this, as the 1950s emerged, the helm of leadership was taken over by Peter Brito. It actually started as coach. He actually started as coach in 1949 and remained in that capacity until the end of the 1951 season when he went into the service. He returned to coaching in the mid-50s. Peter's team were characterized by some of the same things he was taught in the game of basketball. Those traits included basic, fundamental, non-fancy basketball. Incidentally, the person who taught Peter the basic style of play was the one and only Alfred J. Gomes. According to Peter, many of the practice sessions were spent hearing Mr. Gomes saying, "Work on that pivot foot, concentrate on that pass work."
So true.
Well, you know, Alfred J. Gomes, my father always said, was his mentor.
Yeah.
He was my father's mentor.
That's right.
With a lot of things, with the sports. And because he is the one that kind of started a lot of the things in the community, and my father picked up on it. But
Oh,
even
yeah.
that film footage I have, that was Alfred J. Gomes who gave a camera to
Oh, yeah, Smoky Sam.
Rose, I forget his, I
Tommy,
forget his first name, to go out there and do this.
forget
So
his
this
name,
man
Dan-
was way ahead of his
Mateo,
time as
Danny.
well. Yeah, definitely.
The mailman.
So who's that? The mailman?
Ganetto.
They, like,
Oh, David?
Dave,
Alan.
Alan Gannett?
Alan Gannett.
Was that him?
Oh, I thought he was the mailman because
Alan was good.
Isn't there a ball player they call the mailman because he can deliver? Oh, Kamala. Okay, yeah.
But Alan was good.
Yeah.
Very good. Fast. Tommy Lopes, too.
Yep,
Yeah.
Tommy Lopes is another one.
Tommy Lopes played with me.
So I was sitting on the wall one night, and so the guy said to me, "Well, Mr. Spittle, why don't you get some teams to come and play against us?" So I did. So I get 3 teams, one from Boston, one from Connecticut, one from Rhode Island,
That's all gonna pick up on that, Mike.
and one from New Bedford. 4-team shootout. New Bedford couldn't win a game. They beat our path. The final game was Boston against, I think, Connecticut. That's when I started the shootout, which were only 4 teams, and the rest of that was history. I started from there.
What year did you start the shootouts?
When I got 59.
In '59?
No, not
Had to be
59.
No, it was later
No.
than that.
Maybe later than that? No, I don't think so.
Well, because my father had the House of Champions in the '50s, I believe. He had the House of Champions boxing, and then I think he had the House of Champions basketball. Were you
Maybe
part of that?
maybe 19 in the 60s I started.
Yeah, I think it
In the
was
60s, right? Because I got married in '59, then I waited around, and then I
The marriage? Okay.
I married a sweetheart, so she kept me in line. So that's the rest of the story.
Well, what do we want to add to this? Is there anything else as far as like, I want to talk about the coaches. Were you one of the first Cape Verdean coaches in the area, or was it Smokey, or?
No, Smokey came after me. Smokey became a coach because I had to get out of CYO. That's the only reason Smokey took my place.
Yeah, but they didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of men of color in coaching
See-
or refereeing. I mean refereeing as well.
Refereeing.
Yeah.
The first one was Frankie Brito.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
He was a beaut.
Frank. Oh, right. Okay, I remember Frank.
And then when
A
Frank
police
talked to
Yeah,
me,
police officer.
when Frank talked to me one day at the CYO, he says, "It's extra money. You like doing it. You can control. If you can control, you can referee." Says, "Go and take the exam," and that's when I became a referee. After I got out of coaching in the CYO, that's when I started.
But there weren't that many black.
There
men
wasn't,
of
no.
color,
It was
referees.
Frankie Brito and myself
That
at the
was it.
time.
And he could be a little hard. He could be a little tough, don't you think, Frankie?
Well, he was all right.
Frank.
Then somebody flattened his tires. So then he had. Of course, I was there. And then somebody flattened his tires, and then he had it in for us. I mean, everything we did.
Really?
You take a jump shot, you come down, and the guy's right under you, call a foul on you.
So
That's how he was.
Took
He
it
was.
personal.
He took it
was very
personal,
personal
yeah.
with that.
We talked to him and everything. Told him we didn't do it. You know, we didn't know who did it. Somebody from another team could have done it. But
So, history of your game's success was all because of something. Sometimes because of a personal grudge that a referee could have. Amazing. Well, it doesn't surprise me, but still.
He was mad.
He shouldn't have been in that position. He was more than mad. He was.
he should have been a cop.
No.
Went down
What about?
there
Did he
and shot
pull
the
a gun on some
Shot the
kids
gun.
in the park?
He shot the gun.
He did.
He did. He lost his job. Through that.
They were playing in the park.
Yeah, he wanted the ball. It was after the lights out or something. It was supposed to be late. It was supposed to. Something stupid. And he wanted the ball. The kids kept throwing the ball around. They wouldn't give it to him, so he took out his gun.
He took the law in his hand.
There was one guy, we'd be playing 5-on-5. And there was one guy that, after we're having good games, we see a guy coming into the park. And we try to hurry up or pick sides before he gets there. Because when he comes in, he's going to cry about somebody fouling him. He's going to be pushing on people.
My father.
Name Manny Costa.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Hurry up. Here he comes. Oh. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember people saying when your father comes in because he elbows you, he does this, he does that.
I got fouled. No one was near him. Oh, he wants to slow the game down.
He's good.
And you go,
Because
oh.
he was older at the time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So Manny Costa was the oldest, and I was the next. I was always on his team. I loved being on his team. He'd tell you how to play. If you wanted to shoot, want to dribble.
I can
He
still
says,
hear that laugh.
he'll call me like, JB, you got Kuzi. Kuzi would frown because I love to play defense on Kuzi. And if you cut down Kuzi, take him right out of his game.
When he used
But it
to
was
get,
good.
they're all under the boards, they're pushing everything. He gives a rebound. I come by and grab it and take all it. Boy, he used to tell me, he used to want to get me, boy. After all that banging and shit, I come up there and I steal the ball from him.
But I know one of the things my father, you talked about different ball players, and between you, Bobby, the dribbling, and Kuzi, I mean, he was always amazed, but I mean, he talked about all it. I used to sit there and listen to all of this because sometimes he'd come home after the games and start talking about, you gotta watch this one here. You know, they were so good that, you know, the way handling the ball, of course the Gomes brothers and everything. But, I mean, certainly he had a strong appreciation for all of the guys that played ball down at the
I
park.
think Bobby Pina was one of the best guys that played.
Well,
ball.
and he talked about Bobby Pina as well. I mean,
Absolutely.
he just,
And Bo.
yeah. But I mean, it's just amazing.
Why
Like I
did
said,
you stop playing for Bo? Why did you go back to OLOA?
We had a beef. So I decided to get out before I said something wrong.
When I went to vocational, and my parents, you know, a lot of kids, so I quit it when I was 16. So as I'm leaving, and Palmieri was the coach at that time, and he made me feel so good. He said, "You know, I like the way you play, but you got to quit." I said, "Yeah, I have to go. I have to go to get to work for my family." And you know, by him saying that, I said, "Wow, you know, it was a good compliment." But he said that, but that was the year that we went there the same year. I had to get out of school.
yeah.
He, Mr. Palmieri, he hit Butch was on the starting five at the beginning of our year
Butch
at
who?
vocational. Butch Firmino.
Okay.
And as we're practicing, he says, Palmieri says something, and Butch says something back to him. And
That was it.
from me to you, he got a basketball and threw it. Hit Butch in the head, knocked him down, and never forgot it. And then he forgot all about Butch Firmino, you know, and he just went on. But he was a tough coach.
Well, that's the same when you were talking about that. Did something to you?
The high school, Palmieri, right? Palmieri was there when you was there, right?
No,
No, he had left.
Vedean.
Grayback.
him and Grayback were good friends.
Yeah, they played on that team that beat Cape Verdeans. Yeah.
But, no, my problem with at the high school was Roger, the manager.
Oh, okay.
Talking about my father when he showed up,
The mic.
he, we were playing on opposite sides, and he's banging me around, banging me around. It was a Friday, so I've had enough. I just wasn't gonna lean up against the wall and watch. I said, I'll watch you play. You know, this is crazy. You know, that's one of the reasons I don't particularly care for watching pro basketball these days, because these days, well, back when, that was
Yeah.
a foul.
Yeah.
Now they're hitting each other with elbows and whatnot and taking them down and really calling a foul on them. You know, it's crazy.
Too much money invested.
No, it's a crazy game these days.
I mean, and bringing it forward to today, when you see what's going on with these coaches, or what is it, the thing that was on the news today, as far as that they're using these guys coming in and they're already signing them up before they can even leave high school or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
And yeah, and they're getting all this money, giving them all these deals and
Five
everything.
was that. We got five.
I mean,
They what?
yeah, they're getting.
The name of the game is winning. If you're good enough, they'll overlook anything to get you to get on that court. It happened years ago, and it still
Sure.
happens today.
Well, years ago, some of those guys that were playing ball, if they got eliminated from the team or whatever, they had no education because some of them couldn't even write.
You use
Never
you
mind
until
reading.
you flunk out. They use you.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Well, the one good thing is not as bad as football with the concussions that people would get. Because, I mean, the injuries were not as severe unless you got slammed to the floor or something and banged your head. But I think for the most part, you guys had a great time playing the
It was
years
the
that you
best-
played.
It was the
Enjoy
best
it,
time of our lives.
Enjoyed it.
That's because
Really
that was
did.
the only thing we had.
Yeah, back then, it was the only
Yeah.
activity.
I remember Juliana. Remember
Yeah.
Juliana?
She used to live up.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Juliana
Yes.
Juliana called me Bob Cruzy. Not Cruzy. Cruzy. Yeah, Cruzy.
Yeah. She was at every game.
She was at every game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Every game.
Yeah.
I always remember her.
So, well, listen, this has been great. I think that, you know, I'd like to extend this even more out as far as like doing an interview with Pete, with some of your generation at some point. How many guys are left today from your,
My generation. Whoa.
I mean, you got Butch still, right? Butch is still
Butch,
around.
yeah, Butch.
Who else is still around, maybe?
I was saying that to Avis the other night. No, I says, there's not too many
The
guys
mic.
in our age bracket.
Yeah. Say a few words.
I was talking to my wife the other night about who's left in my generation that played ball. Not too many. They're all deceased or moved out of town.
Mhm.
I know Butch is still here, and
Talking about
that's as far as I can go. Is Butch like? I can't even think
Think of anybody else around?
of the next guy.
We're talking about over 50 years. The guys participate.
Yeah, over 50 years. You're right.
Over 50 years.
Yeah, because I'm only 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You count the summers?
How old are
Okay,
you?
well, I want to thank you guys. I think this has been great. You know, you'll probably think of a lot of stories right after we stop the filming, because that's the way it usually happens, that you think of other things. So, we'll end
You know,
on that
that's
note.
61 years ago that I played.
61.
61 years.
61.
1959.
Black and white TV.
We didn't even have it. We had that.
59.
color you used to put across the screen.
Yeah, the little plastic that you put the
Yeah,
red, the green,
yeah.
the blue.
Yeah. Felix Montero was the only one around there that had a TV.
And Felix and them, they played too. Didn't Felix play ball?
Felix,
I think he was
right
in.
Yeah, he did.
I got a picture of him in there. Felix is in there someplace. You keep this.
Yeah, I will.
Keep that.
So Joe, how we doing on the battery?
Where's Frank? Alan?
Still alive? Who's that? Do what?
Got them good-looking daughters.
Oh, yeah. When he was killed on Fahaven Bridge. Mary Ann Duat's father?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, remember he was coming from Fahaven early in the morning and,
Yeah, the car accident.
yeah.
Don Ramos was good in his time. Don Ramos. He played with Rusty Ramos.
All right, I think we're gonna end right there.
No, I gotta say one more thing.
Okay, say one more.
I remember we was at Airvox, I forget the year, and it was a rebound. There was a guy about 6'3", and I went around and I tapped it in on him.
Oh,
I'm not going to mention any names.
is he here?
I think he's here, yeah.
You jumped that high, I thought they
I went over him,
yeah.
and he looked at me like, what?
Wait, and you know what? There was something else I read about, they didn't want guys jumping too high. It was something about,
Jumping too high.
well, like I said, doing the dunks and stuff like that, because they
Nobody was
don't
No,
know
no,
the
no,
dunk
no,
and
no.
everything, but there was something about jumping too high.
They frowned on that
Yeah.
dunking anyway, right?
Yeah, it was
Until Jabbar.
showboating,
Because of Jabbar.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's it, and we're gonna
say a
wrap
few
this up. Yeah, I'm gonna hold
You
on
said
to
it
that.
all.
I'm gonna stand and get back to you.
Like Tony Ramos is still around, but he's
Yeah.
sick, you know? But he's
Yeah.
another player that was good.
Does he have his memory?
Oh, yeah.
Is that right? He
Whoa.
loses memory?
No, he has his memory.
Oh, he has
He
memory?
remembers
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Names,
He's another one
dates.
that we
Really?
should
Oh.
definitely. Listen, guys, we got food here, so you better eat, 'cause you can't leave unless you eat something, because,
Oh, is that right?
I gotta use the bathroom. Bobby, have something to eat for you.
Hey man, who's that cat coming down the street?
I don't know, but it sounds to me like that wicked man with the bone.
Sure having himself a ball.
was that cat, all right.
Hey, man, who's that cat coming down the street?
I don't know, but it sounds to me like that wicked man with the bone.
Sure having himself a ball. Man, who's that cat coming down the street?
I don't know, but it sounds to me like that wicked man with the bone.
Sure having himself a ball.